Another issue is sometimes your child can strip naked. Yep, naked, run around without clothes on, and they don't even see, like, you know, it's not, it's the concept of understanding that I'm naked is, it's not there. It's just like it's nothing, you know. So that's when you come in and just go and give that child something to wear, a nappy, a pant, a trouser, clothes, a dress. Even if you see an autistic adult, someone going around naked, just try to understand that there must be a situation here. There must be an issue here. Give them something to cover, a cloth, a zambia, you know. Give them something just to maintain their dignity in public places. Please don't gather around and making a scene, starting to look at that person as some kind of entertainment, as some kind of a show. That person needs help. They need your help. So give them something to, you know, to maintain their dignity. Yeah. And let them not be a crowd, because that's just gonna cause a little more discomfort and unease. Sometimes your child doesn't want to wear shoes. My son, he's always removing his shoes. Every morning, I'm trying to get him dressed to wear his uniform, and he takes the shoes off. Then the school bus comes. Your bus is here. The shoes are off. The socks are off. And it's a struggle. Then you rush again. Sometimes you end up just putting the socks in the bag and then just put on the shoes. And I had to get easy shoes. Like, you know, all these nice fancy Adidas shoes. I had to put them aside. I had to get those simple Matomi, you know, the simple ones where you just slide it on. You slide it on and then, you know, it's 2 seconds and then you're out, because there's no time to be tying a shoelace and fixing and adjusting. There's no time, and he keeps taking them off, you know, so it's inconvenient for everyone. And some children are intolerant to layers. They don't want too many layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't want that. Even the bra inside, I had to struggle with my daughter, like to keep the bra inside, because, you know, as a girl, you always have to have your inside, right? And sometimes they don't want to wear the insides, and sometimes she doesn't want to wear the jacket. Some children don't want the heavy jackets, but then this is England. It's cold. Sometimes you have to wear your jacket, or you're going to freeze. Sometimes they don't want to wear the vest. They just want to wear one thing. But she's learned now over time, because as the older she gets, she has to wear the jacket, the coat. Yeah, and then otherwise you're going to freeze. Right. And then things like having your hair cut, having your hair braided, you know, these things, sometimes it can be a nightmare when it comes to autistic children. Having the hair cut, taking them to the barber, taking them to have a haircut, it's almost a nightmare. Sometimes you have to see if you can ask the barber to come to your house, or you could ask someone who's good at cutting and just explain that this is the situation. My child will not sit. My child might be restless. You might have to shave the hair while the child is running around, or, you know, you have to try all the tricks that you can to try to convince your child to have a haircut. Okay. Right. So we've got things like throwing inappropriate behavior, unpredictable behavior, throwing things in the shop, picking things in the picking things from the shop without paying. So, for example, with my daughter, right? She's 17 now. So we started off with taking things, grabbing things from the shop without paying. But then she was taught the concept of money, and that you have to pay before you take something and before you open something. Or when you go into a shop, you have to pay, and then you can come out with that item. So now the issue is taking things and assuming that, you know, you can take as much as you want. You can take as much as you want. You can just put in. Don't worry, mommy's gonna pay, and put it all at the till. She's got the money. She doesn't even know the concept of how much is it going to cost. She just takes. So that way, what we avoid taking her to some places like supermarkets where there's so many little bits and bobs. But I mean, we've kind of slowly reintroducing her back, but we're trying to avoid these situations, because the last thing you want is trying to convince her to put something back when you're at the till. It's a fight, and you do not want to do that in public. Like, take this back. No. Once she grabs something, Once she grabs something, you just, that's it. You're going to have to buy it, And listen, I know some of you might be saying, this child, you don't discipline your children. I'm going to come back tomorrow with that part. Don't worry, I'm still going to talk about that. It's not about the disciplining of the children. You need to understand, sometimes it's about the understanding. So you have to play the psychology well. Like sometimes either you avoid taking her to those places where she's going to do these things, or you're going to limit and negotiate with her. Like what I do. So as I'm reintroducing her back, okay, let's say you've got 2 chocolates. She likes chocolates. So you've got a bag of chocolates and then you've got some other chocolates. 2 bags of chocolates. Maybe this is okay. This is pink and this is blue, right? So I say, okay, now you're going to take the blue one or you're going to take the pink one. So sometimes she's like, okay, let me take so give her the choice. That way you then return the blue one and she takes the pink one. You see, we don't always win, but we win sometimes. So that's the other method that works. It works. Give her the choice and the ability to choose. And that way she then feels like, oh yeah, I chose this. I'm taking this. But remember, you still have to take one of them. You're not going to win by leaving everything. Oh, no. You will cause a scene, an unnecessary scene. So when it comes to autistic kids, sometimes when you go shopping, just try to teach them the concept of money, but then also the concept of not taking everything, just picking and choosing. Okay. Otherwise, just avoid it altogether. Then what else? Destruction of property. As you've seen in the previous video, remember, an unpredictable behavior. I gave you an example of that boy, the video that went viral with almost 7 million views. And he just went up in what seemed to be a Costco shop and he just started dropping TVs, dropping 50-inch TVs, drop. That's destruction to public property. Okay. Some children do that, and it's just a part of the spectrum. It's a part of a meltdown or just unpredictable behavior. Okay. Another thing is sometimes there's head banging. This is a self-injurious behavior. Some children bang their heads in public. You see them banging their heads, like proper blood dripping. That's a cause of concern. You need to try to restrain them in those situations safely. Then there's things like scratching themselves, scratching others, hitting themselves, hitting others, biting themselves. My daughter has this issue. She bite her hand, biting, literally biting. Like you can see the bruises of being biting herself. And even if you give them I know there are these like rubbery bangles that autistic children are given. And guys, is anyone there? Join me. Talk to me, people. Talk to me. Say a heart, a wave. Let me know you're there, right? Okay, so there is the things that they provide, but she won't use that. She won't use those things. She just prefers to just bite on her hand. So sometimes she might be anxious, so these are the things that that can happen sometimes with autistic kids. Okay. And then there is the sexualized behavior. Sexualized behavior, I'm going to go quickly because I want to finish soon because I think we've already done 1 hour. Okay. Sexualized behavior includes things like foot fetish. You find a child or maybe an adolescent, a bit of an older child, they'll have like a foot fetish. Every time they see people's feet, they'll run and they'll grab the feet. They love the feet. They just love to touch feet. So that behavior it's unpredictable. It's inappropriate. But be tolerant and just move away, with an understanding that, look, this child might have a foot fetish, but you do not want to encourage that. Okay. Don't be alarmed with, like, if it happened to you in public. Of course, you'll probably be alarmed, but sometimes just read the situation. It's probably someone who's autistic, because I know a number of autistic children, or adolescents who had food fetish. So it's something that's familiar. Okay. Yeah, and then inappropriate touching, masturbating, things like that. So, I won't go too much into that because it's not very comfortable to talk about that. Then we've got the climbers, the kids who like climbing shelves, climbing walls, climbing gates, climbing fences, climbing high places, dangerous, the risk of falling, the risk of injuring themselves. Then we've got the runners, the ones who run. So you have to be able to catch up with them. They run fast and they don't even seem to care to come back. So you have to always make sure you catch them before they get lost, or, they run into the road or something like that. Okay. So the last one I'm going to talk about is the fourth category, which is fear and phobia. Fears and phobias. And that includes anxiety. That's looking basically at anxiety and autism in public places. So sometimes when you go out, your child can become anxious. And if you check, there is a reference which I put by Catherine Hobbs on the list that I put the last post. Catherine Hobbs, 2022, and the other one by Lee A.W., who is an award winner winning author for autism books. Okay, they look into things like like Lee studied. She did a study, right? And she says from the findings, some of the common fears that are reported in her study. I think some children fear toilets, some children fear elevators, vacuum cleaners, thunderstorms, heights, characters on TV, characters on video games, characters on commercials. Some children are afraid of loud noises, moving objects, tricycles. I know my son refuses to go on a swing. If you take him to the park, he does not want to go on a swing. He does not want to go on those things that go round and round and round. He does not want to go on a slide. He does not want to go. It's almost like you'd be like, why did I take you there then? But he's starting to embrace the climbing frame. The climbing frame. So he likes to climb things. He's a climber, by the way. Okay, so yeah, some children are afraid of closed spaces, large crowds, thunderstorms. So think of anything. They could be afraid of anything. You live with them, you have assessed and seen. Sometimes my child might be afraid of this thing. My child might be afraid of that thing. Okay, so those are part of the fears and phobias underlining anxiety. Some of the fears and phobias. Yeah, so basically, yeah, loud talking, loud music. So I think I've mentioned that already. Okay. So that's basically it. Okay, one way to manage anxiety, and some people do therapies for that. But then try to improve the quality of life for your autistic child. That is one way to manage anxiety. That is one way. Forming friendships. Involve your child with other children to form friendships. Okay. And yeah, that's basically it. Self-regulation, that's another one as well. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that today. Okay, that's quite a lot. I know. It's quite a lot to take in, but I just want to thank you. Tomorrow I will talk about the risk to others. I won't talk about that today because obviously I know it's too much, it's too long. So I want to thank you, and please keep supporting autism awareness. Let's spread awareness. When people begin to understand what is going on when we're talking about autism, they won't look at us with those weird glares. They won't be startled. They won't be caught off guard. In fact, instead, they will come. Hopefully, they will come and assist us. They'll come and help us, or they'll just be understanding Yeah. Okay. So thank you for today. Thank you for viewing today. Thank you for sharing as well. And so I think I will come again tomorrow. I'm going to do the last part, which is the risk to others. Okay, in public places. Okay, thank you again, and do take care. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.